I was thinking about what we could discuss, and I was waiting for something big to drop. And actually, my mind was taken to the X-Wing when I saw a post on Instagram by Todd Osborne who showed off his X-Wing bootlegs. Now, I'm not even going to cover these things. We may well just, reproduce that image, but it just made me think, X-Wings. I love X-Wings. And I know we've spoken about it, but we've not spoken in depth about this. We've not had a section to talk for a while about X-Wings, to talk about the different iterations, the different releases, and we most definitely have not asked the Vintage Rebellion Podcast Alliance to assist us with the X-Wing.
Hey down there! Could you give us a hand with this?
So without further ado, I think we'll go straight on to the Vintage Rebellion Podcast Alliance to see what it is they've got to say.
You are part of the Rebel Alliance.
Chris Troigulius here for another segment on the Vintage Rebellion. Today I'm going to talk about the X-Wing fighter vehicle. That was one that was a mainstay throughout the line back in the day. Kenner's original design came out in '78. It was one of the first 3 ships that they designed and had available for kids. The box, had the original Luke in the cockpit. That was before they even had an X-Wing pilot figure, but they knew it was an important vehicle to have in the lineup, and certainly kids didn't mind one bit at the time. The original design had a couple of buttons on it. They designed that toy with a regular light bulb, incandescent light bulb. But when it came out for production, they changed it to an LED light. So that original prototype had a concept model. It's never turned up, but there's some photos around. It has 2 black buttons in the rear. I think one is for the sound and one is for the light. They had them separately at the time. They weren't integrated into a single button, but the rest of it worked the same. They used R2-D2 head to open the wings. That was definitely something the Kenner engineers and the designers worked to make. They had to scale it to fit the action figure and proportions so that it made sense price-wise, but it also needed to look like the vehicle in the film. And they went on to release that. There was a special offer version that included a Luke Skywalker and Han Solo action figures, the yellow special offer sticker there. And then when they went to the Empire Strikes Back box, they did have the Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot figure in the cockpit at that point. And probably the next major variation they did on that was on the X-Wing was they had the battle damage version. For Empire, it could reuse the exact same ship, throw some other stickers on there. They also molded that in gray, give it a dingy look, and incorporated the crash landing on Dagobah. So they and had that in the box as well. They released it for Return of the Jedi. They even had some prototype packaging for Revenge of the Jedi that's around as well. And the X-Wing was also picked up, as people well know, by Palitoy. They had to completely cost reduce that. They took all the electronics and lights out of that toy and then changed the photo on the box. And this vehicle was released numerous times. For Europe, then it was multiple box variations. I think there's 24, 25 known variations of the piece. So quite a bit to collect if you're so inclined. Probably what's really one of the most interesting thing is the last version of the X-Wing was actually 1988. So everybody claims, 1985 was the end of the line, but they forget that Glassley in Brazil, their Star Wars toy line came out in 1988. And X-Wing was, and TIE Fighter and the TIE Interceptor were the ships that they released. So, and their packaging was Power of the Force style. And really it's a true testament to how long that line actually lasted. So, and then it also ran into 1989. So technically the vintage era ended in 1989. So a lot of people think it ended in 85. In fact, in 85, Kenner was considering a Power of the Force version as well. So they had a few comp boxes that they had designed that are actually still exist. Just layouts, really, not full printed boxes. But those were done for the Power of the Force line. Ultimately, yes, that was never released in the back at that time. It's really, they skipped that large section of time, and then it was released by Glasslight. And then that's a really interesting in terms of like what the vehicle design looked like too as well. So a great one to hunt down. Pretty tough piece to find. But people are pretty surprised to hear that was so late in the day. Kenner also released a die-cast version of the X-Wing with their 1979 die-cast 78 die-cast series, and they, for the micro collection, they released an X-Wing too. It was had a little collapsible feature there, so you could crash your X-Wing. So that was kind of fun. And actually, in the late 70s, Takara released an interesting X-Wing. It was a transforming X-Wing. I think it transformed into like 5 different vehicles. And for some reason, that never really caught on with collectors. The Takara line was really amazing in its variety, but I mean, just because it didn't correspond to the action figure line, people just completely dismiss it, which is unfortunate. And they had a funkier X-Wing. They had a blimp. It was like an inflatable X-Wing. It looked like a giant blimp with some fins on it, sort of like an X pattern. And that was the inflatable X-Wing. Didn't really look like an X-Wing, but really a classic weird toy of the time. And SD's Model Rocket Company, they had an X-Wing as well. And that design lent itself a little bit better. You can make the fins bigger, make it kind of look like an X-Wing while you're launching your model rockets. But anyway, quite a bit of variety available to collect there. And for the 1995, Power of the Force 2, when Power of the Force 2 was resurrected by Kenner, and they released, basically re-released a lot of the ships and from the original days. Now, they had the original molds in storage, and they broke those out of storage, and right around late 95, 1996, they were making shots in these molds, and they made these like all milky white prototypes. So they had X-Wing and Snowspeeder and Falcon and all these like almost pure white, like a clear, like a translucent milky white plastic that they used. But they had the original copyright dates because they cleaned up the molds, they ran those, then they changed the copyright dates and made even more first shots at the time. When they first came out, people were quite confused. They thought they were prototypes from the original toy line. But that wasn't the case. But I've noticed, and that was 1995, 1996, and now we're going 23 years later now. And in the past few years, I've seen some of those resurface again. And now they've yellowed. So now they are yellowish, and they're milky white plastic. And they have the original copyright dates, and a lot of people are now they're passing those off or thinking that they are original because now they look old. So it's quite an unfortunate thing. It's the one thing we can say is I've never seen an original prototype that was made in that color. So that's the one difference. They look cool for what they are, but they're definitely not from that time period. So if you run across one of those and it looks old, and ask around, chances are it's probably one of the POF2 versions. And if the price is right, it's probably worth picking up because it does have a bit of history there. It is tied into the original. It is the original mold from the original molds with those original copyright dates. And, just a fun piece to have. So a lot of variety collect with the X-Wing, and happy collecting. We'll see you next time. Take care.
The Rebel Alliance is too well equipped.
Well, that's great. At the point of recording, we have got no idea what these guys have said. So once again, thank you as ever.
The Force will be with you, always.
All 3 of the primary movies, this was there. I mean, let's face it, it was the first, amongst the first 3 vehicles released by Kenner in 78. It's massively important. it so quickly became an iconic feature, of the collector market. Everyone had to have an X-Wing. I don't think you would have had an AT-AT or a Falcon without having the X-Wing first. It was the must-have thing. I'm going to take it to you lads, because I could just talk about the X-Wing forever. Pete, we're going to talk to you soon about, prices, market, this, and the other. But let's face it, Richard, come on, mate. I'm going to go straight to you, because there's always something about the X-Wing which you're not aware of. There's always something about a ship which, even though you may own one, you're not necessarily aware of all of the functions. Now, can you talk me through the features and functions of the X-Wings, and where there may be some changes?
Send a scanning crew aboard. I want every part of this ship checked.
Get me a scanning crew in here on the double. I want every part of this ship checked.
Yeah, Jez. So, as most people are aware, the Palatoy version and the Kenner version differ, mainly because of costing problems. So, in the Kenner X-Wing, those lucky Americans and Canadians would have had lights and sounds in their X-Wings. So, a little dramatic red light. I don't know if it was advertised as a dramatic red light on the X-Wing, like it was on their vehicles. And sounds as well on the X-Wing. A little red light in the nose cone right at the front. They both, thankfully, had the X-Wing attack position, which was activated by pushing down R2, and a little push button that would lock the X-Wings into place. So I thought that was a great little feature. That I still think now that it was a fantastic idea. And as we know, the Palatoy didn't have one. I wasn't aware particularly that the little button that is used to lock the X-Wing in position in Palatoy one is slightly different. It's a chrome button, whereas the Kenner one isn't. So I wasn't quite as aware of that until today. Just whilst I'm talking about the Palatoy one very briefly, the guns...
Sorry, Rich, can you just say what was chrome again?
The little button that locks the X... Is it not? Or is it the R2?
Yeah, so the R2 is chromed up.
The R2, yeah, of course.
And,
I'm looking at the wrong thing.
And I don't want to jump in too much, but yeah, the button on a lot of the boxes is blue, but in ours is white. But so our R2 is a little bit more blinged up. So in your face, Americans.
and yeah, the Palatoy geniuses you reused the X-Wing cannons as part of their Death Star playset, which I thought was brilliant. A really, really good idea. Why reinvent the wheel? We need something that looks like cannons. Well, take the X-Wing cannons. Obviously, absolutely fantastic. I wonder if the X-Wing is possibly the most reused and redesigned and redeveloped vehicle in the entire series, because obviously Kenner wanted to re-release it, freshen it up a little bit. So we got the battle damaged ones, and not only did they come with these stickers, which I don't like. I do not like the stickers at all. I'm not a fan of them. Stickers that look as though they were, blaster holes in the side, or proton torpedo holes. But the Kenner one was grey. It was a different colour to the standard earlier Kenner one, as well as having a tinted canopy and different engine stickers at the back as well, different engine decals.
The Kenner guys, they changed theirs, because I think you said that the Kenner guys had the grey one. I mean, they started off with the white. I know that we're going to go through some of these releases anyway with Stu in a minute. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And we'll look at the differences and intricate detailing. One of the other issues, which I only realised recently as well. So yes, everyone knows the difference between the Palatoy and the Kenner is, the fact that we don't have the electrics, we don't have the sound, we don't have the light. But on the back of the Kenner ones, they've got really great detailing. So it's not a sticker at all. It's actual plastic detailing. Whereas we've just got a straight 2D sticker. There you go. So, as you said, with regards to the loose versions, quite a few differences. And there's also, and we'll come on to this later, I'm sure, as you say, the difference in the Palatoy releases as well. So in the UK, there wasn't just a straightforward pre-battle damaged and battle damaged. There were other options as well. So, cheers for that, Rich.
Can I just state about that when they released these X-Wings with the things closed down? The crushing disappointment of having a beautiful X-Wing fighter. And now the first one I had, the only one I had as a kid, was the battle damaged one, the Return of the Jedi box. And I was so disappointed when I found this, what's this? It's got screws in the back. What's this? There's a weird button on the top. Not the slidey button, but the actual button which would in America would have made sounds and whatever. And it's this button just sitting there. And he was like, you press the button. Where's the battery compartment? Oh, it's all been sealed up. And what? I had no idea why this was, because there's no internet to find out. But see, there was something going on. I'm thinking, what have they done? Who's done this? What's that? What sort of child cruelty is this? Exactly. To have this box in there. And I remember always wanting to think, I should take it apart and see if this thing's in there and we can put batteries in, but I can never get it open. So I think I tried quite a lot, but I don't think I ever did get home. I think it was like, I think my dad or mum would have said, no, if you open that open, it's going to crack and you're going to ruin it. And I just probably thought, because I think it was very, very well glued, because there is a section you can see at the back, but I think it was glued to Kingdom Come. But yeah, how bad is that as a kid? Thinking, whoa, this is supposed to have lights and stuff, and it's not got that. Awful. What an awful thing to do, kids.
So Pete, did you say you had one then as a child?
Yeah, well, I still got it. I still got my battle damage.
Oh, you lucky thing! Oh, good for you.
I've got the box as well. Oh, there's got a big hole on it. Well, it's got. Well, I think a cat might have put his paw through the back of the box, but yeah, I've still got the box. I don't think I've got any inserts. They've probably got thrown away very quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got the instructions. Got the X-wing. It's quite grey looking now. I seem to remember.
Yeah, it is. I mean, so we're jumping all over the place now, but no, you'll have a grey one. If you've got one with a button at the back, yours was a grey one, mate. Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. I mean, I'm still slightly distracted with the story of the kitten or the cat in the box. I'm trying to get that out of my mind.
Cats did. They just got in boxes and try to claw the way out of them.
No, that's brilliant. So you had one of the later ones, I believe, and more on that soon. So Richard, did you have an X-wing?
I possibly did, but I can't swear to it. I don't know if I've got a false memory of an X-wing. I definitely had the Falcon. I clearly remember that. I clearly remember Darth Vader's tie.
Yeah.
And I want to say I think I did, but out of all the other vehicles, it would have been the only other one that I would have got.
Right.
But I can't say.
Yeah, okay. Stuart, did you have this? I mean, I know you're the youngster, so...
I did, mate. It was obviously my brother's and it was handed down, and I still have it.
Oh, wow.
It sits on a shelf in my garage, and it still has the cannons and it still has the canopy. I actually broke the leg off my brother's Han Hoth on Christmas Day, trying to force it into an X-Wing on top of another figure.
Oh,
That's
right.
the story of another day. Yeah, snapped it from the knee, and he'd had it about 2 hours, really popular at Christmas. But white one.
Yeah.
My brother would have had it in the Star Wars range. He had all the figures for that at Palatoy Death Star and an X-Wing.
So we're talking pre-battle damage, just a regular white one, lovely chromed up R2, and standard Palatoy, no electrics.
It's megally played with. It is without doubt my favourite ship. Nothing touches it. The Falcon, nothing comes close to the X-Wing. I think it's an amazing toy.
I'm just pausing there for a while as I'm actually looking at mine fondly. So, no, I didn't have one as a child. As you know, I was lucky enough to have the Rebel Transport and a Hoth Wampa and a speeder bike and ATST. So that's my collection. However, I was really... It's one of those things where as I then got into collecting sort of 2009 or so, one of the first ships which I had to buy was the X-Wing. And it's just lovely, just perfectly balanced. Fits in your hand nicely, just, you can fly along, you can imagine what it was like as a kid. The undercarriage there, the sort of moulded undercarriage, so it stands nicely when you bring the landing gear down. Whether or not the S4s are retracted or splayed, it's just great. Yeah, we got the as Pete said, we got the cheaper version. But then again, make do amend, that was our mentality, wasn't it? It was crushing, but the thing is, why do you need a battery compartment with a little sound which goes when you can just make your own sounds? You can make your own, better sounds. You can make your own laser sounds and give your own narrative to it. So, it was annoying, but we would have just, we would have coped because that's what kids did back then. So I'm looking at one of these ones which I've got, which I bought probably, maybe about 9 years ago or so. And it's got the battle damage stickers on it, and it's got a nice cockpit canopy. and it's just slightly annoying because when I just rotated it just now whilst it was in my hand, the canopy fell away. So, but there we go, it's now back in place. But it's great item, love it.
Here's the Star Wars X-Wing Fighter and the Star Wars TIE Fighter. Spaceships and Luke Skywalker sold separately. Batteries not included.
I'll get you this time, Luke. Reactivate X-Wings.
Both with flashing lights and sound.
I hit. There go the solar panels. And Darth Vader got away. Force is with me. Luke Skywalker wins again.
Kenner's Star Wars X-Wing Fighter, TIE Fighter, and action figures all sold separately.
Cheers for that, Rich. Now we're going to go into releases, because I think we might have to actually phone Guinness, because I think the X-Wing has probably got the record for the most iterations, the most different releases. And Stu, I asked you to look into this, mate. Different boxes and releases. I don't know if you can thank me for this, or...
mate. No, I'm not, and I'm going to miss loads of them, mate.
I got you back. I
was going through the licenses, so let's just start.
All wings report in.
Red 10 standing by.
Red 7 standing by. Red 3 standing by.
Red 6 standing by.
Red 5 standing by.
Let's start in Canada. I believe a Star Wars and an ESB box on Kenner Canada. Have you got anything on top of that? Beautiful box, actually. I really like it with the French logo at the top.
I'm looking at the various different boxes available, and I think there are around about 25 in total. I looked at this and I found some stuff on Rebel Scum, first of all, and there was a collector who had he showed a fleet of these together of about 20 boxed, and then he showed a couple others. Yeah, Macobulus, something like that on RS, and he had a shed load of them, and names like his and Mark Carraway were being banded around. So I sent him a message, but I haven't heard anything back. But it was then I found Project Outside the Box, obviously, which we've used in the past quite a bit on the Imperial Gunnery, where I've got almost all of this information, Stu. So you tell me about your Canadian ones, and then I'll tell you about the 5 Canadian ones which they say are available.
Oh, right. Well, yeah. Well, if you've got 5, and I haven't got that information, I've used the archive.
Right.
And there is not 5 listed on there.
No, well, I mean, I know you've opted to go for the Canadian ones first of all, but I mean, just alone, what Projects Outside the Box were saying was there were 7 USA ones. What did you have for Kenner? Just regular Kenner?
Okay, right. Let me go down my list, mate, because I've got that.
Because these guys are going into detail.
7?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Apparently so.
Well, I haven't got that. So I've got the initial release.
Yeah.
And then you had the special offer version,
Brilliant.
Which I think was 78. 79, we lose the LP logo.
Yeah.
I think that's the last one in the Star Wars. Mid-80, the logo on the box is changed to obviously Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And then the image is changed to the Dagobah scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's 5 actually, so we're not far off it, because is this where the battle damage comes in, or is that on Return of the Jedi?
Well, so I mean, I'm going to go back to it. Yeah, so it first came out in 78, as you said, and you had Luke Farmboy on the box, so in the cockpit. So that aircraft, look at me with my military stuff. So that was white with electric light and sound, nose light, clear cockpit canopy, moulded rear engine, which you spoke about, and the R2 is clear to see but isn't chromed or shiny, and the button behind the R2 is blue, and it makes a sound. So that's what Kenner got. Yeah, good for you. That's what the Americans got. As you said, then the next iteration came out with a special offer sticker. So that's the second one. So special offer, Han and Luke. So in the same year, so first year they're pushing that out, same year pushing it out, but with a sticker on, giving Han and Luke. And then that's when you said, quite rightly, the next year it was the same as the first iteration. So no special offer sticker, but no long play, no LP logo on. As you say, then
the photos on the side of the package also changed.
They changed, do they? Oh, right, okay.
The images on the side, yeah, the new one depicts an X-wing pilot figure in the cockpit. That is where it's changed.
Was that in 79? Yeah.
That's in 79. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although the front image at that point is still the same.
That's right. And it was in 80.
It's only on the side of the box.
Yeah. So it was the Empire Strikes Back version where they go from the double racetrack to the single, and they put Luke X-wing in the cockpit. So that's 1980. The fifth one, as you say, they go to Dagobah. So, but there ended up ultimately being 3 different Dagobah scenes on these boxes, and so in 81 they have the original Dagobah, and then what did you have after that, mate?
Yeah, and so in 82 is then replaced with the battle damage one.
Heavy fire, boss. 23 degrees. I see it. Stay low.
Are you all right?
I got a little cook, but I'm okay.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, so you do get battle damage. So the cockpit canopy gets a bit tinted, and you get battle damage decal sheet, and the vehicle remains electronic. Yeah, so
and the vehicle's still white at that point, isn't it? It doesn't change to grey at that point.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah, I think the first battle damage is still a white X-wing.
But the Dagobah scene changes. I mean, this is just like, let's just shift this about. So what did I write? Because I wrote the X-wing shifts position placement from a pointing southwest (brackets 7:30 on a clock face) to southeast 4:30 on a clock face. This 6th iteration sees the first change of the ship, white to grey. Actually, yeah. So in 82, apparently it goes from white to grey, with black front engine ports. Yeah, so I've seen that. I hadn't even noticed that up until when I was looking into this. So when you look at the aircraft, when you look at the ship, the engines are just pure white on the first releases, and then the front of the engine air intakes go black. So real subtle changes there.
It's a bloody minefield.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then we're getting to 1983, so we're getting to the 7th version of the Kenner.
Right, so this is when we're going to go over to Return of the Jedi, isn't it? This is
mate.
Still a Dagobah scene, isn't it? This is where it's been switched. It's still got Ben Kenobi on the box, isn't it?
Yeah,
with Yoda. But the X-wing's now facing the opposite direction.
So the X-wing is facing the same direction as the 6th iteration. So it did change during the Empire Strikes Back era, but it went with the latest Empire Strikes Back. But you're right, it's facing southeast now, and so the biggest change being is the logo from ESB to Return of the Jedi. And they also added, they thought it really, really crucial, sensible, or urgently required to add vehicle after X-wing fighter. So subtle but necessary. So they're the American releases. Man, let's canter through this. Then what did you have after that, dude?
What, on Kenner?
No, just for X-wings.
I'm about to say I'm out, mate.
I'm out. That's me gone. Yeah, so that was the American releases. You were then talking about you went on to the Canadian, didn't you?
Yeah, so I have only got the 2 here. I've got the ESB release and the Star Wars original release.
Yeah.
You're saying there's 5?
Yeah, so what they've got on projects outside the box then, dude, is they had the 78, the red background, double racetrack, very, very similar actually to the first Kenner, but bilingual text. And then they waited until 1980, all right? So if you had waited until 1980, by now the Americans would have had 2 changes in 79. However, the Canadians waited until 1980, and that's when the Empire Strikes Back version came out with the Dagobah 2 background. So, southeast, and bilingual still there. Luke X-wing pilot, can be seen in it. So, just changes as you'd expect. But then they had projects outside the box called that iteration 15, because I think they haven't gone in the same order we've gone, but they also had a couple other variations. They had a Sears Canada exclusive that was packaged with a Luke X-wing pilot. Apparently this one is mega rare. So this one was the ESB, which came with a Luke X-wing pilot, and they're saying that there are no photographs available for that one yet. So superbly rare. And then 15C, rare version of the Kenner Canada second issue, comes with a Miro Meccano import sticker on it. So, we are talking tiny little subtleties there with an import sticker on. And then the final one was, as you would have had, the Return of the Jedi.
Is there? I didn't find Return of the Jedi on Kenner Canada, but I'll take your word for that.
Oh, right. Well, yep. According to TIG, according to Projects Outside the Box, vehicle depicted is now the battle damaged grey electronic version. Yeah, so lots of Canadian ones. And what did you have after that then? So already, X-Wing pretty much dominating the market and having lots of changes aplenty.
Okay, so where are we going? What country do you want to go to? Should we go to Palatoy?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, five. Have you? Is that the same as you, or have you going to throw loads more stickers at me?
I got 3. So
okay then. So you got the X-Wing on the Star Wars card, which is depicting the same image as what we were just talking about with Luke. Farm Boy, no, it's because this is on a. It looks like it's on a moon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's on its own special planet. That's right.
It is. It's settled down onto a lovely little thing there. And then I've got ESB. We're back. We've got the Dagobah scene with Yoda and R2 outside of the ship with Luke X-Wing now in it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And then I've got Palatoy, obviously, then for Europe. So you've got the battle-damaged X-Wing fighter in the bi-logo box, normal X-Wing in the tri-logo box, and then a battle-damaged X-Wing in a tri-logo box.
All right, this is where my info gets mixed with Palatoy and other European.
Okay, so I've got these down because these were Palatoy releases on them. That's why I've gone with them. So you've changed them for European, I take it.
Yeah, no, it's very much like earlier on with the cardbacks when Rich, was using a different list to what we were using earlier on. I mean, I guess that, you're absolutely right. These are just referring to sort of 3 Palatoys. They were saying that, you had the 78, the one you originally spoke about. No changes in 79 for the Brits, very much like the Canadians. ESB, the Palatoy changes the planet-inspired background to Kenner's Dagobah, and the double racetrack has changed. And again, Luke X-Wing is in there. So it's almost identical to the Kenner one.
Yeah.
And then there was another change. This time the box front changes to the second Dagobah one, so they go from southwest to southeast, and the Palatoy logo changes to a smaller version. So very much like with the carbacks, they started shrinking the logo on the boxes, and the title sees battle damage added. And then there are a few notes with this, because we ended up then seeing a few changes to the box where the boxes were actually showing a different version of the ship to what you would end up getting. So it said, note the box front shows a grey variant vehicle that is non-electronic. See the absence of nose light and electronic button compared to the Kenner grey versions. This is the same variant as the European bi-logo versions. See later. And the toy is the same, but with the battle damage decal sheet. And then there's another note saying the X-Wing pictured as the grey non-electronic version with a dummy battery compartment that contains no internal wiring and no red nose light. It comes with a dummy blue electronic button that is not pictured on the box. The 4 black engine ports and tinted black canopy. This package has also shown up containing the white non-electronic Euro Palatoy fighter. So a couple of different versions of the fighter within that box. So there you go. So what else have you got, mate?
Well, let's go over to Italy then. So we've got a beautiful box, I think. But once again, it's probably a bit like the Palatoy X-Wing. It's got the noise animation wording has been removed. It's got that cartoonish look about it. But we've got a name here, haven't we? We've got the Cacacia Alla X. How are you saying that, Jez? With your Italian.
Oh yeah, that's exactly how I would have said it. Yes.
Yeah. I believe this was the only one released under the Harbour flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you agree with that one?
Yeah.
Yes. Over to Brazil, not released Glass Elite in 1985, I believe. Completely different situation. It's got the Dagobah scene, but it's very orange, isn't it, on the Glass Elite? And this one's got a great big rectangle in the corner with Luke pointing his blaster at you with R2 and 3PO for some reason in there. Caca Estella Asa X.
That's it. Yeah. And it's great. I mean, we've seen these in hand. We've had these in hand, haven't we, when we went to Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, and a completely unique version.
I would say it's great. The archive database describes it as a light grey purple.
Interesting.
Did you get purple from it when we looked?
No purple from it. Projects outside the box. The Glassly X-Wing is a truly wonderful variation with its silver grey body colour and alternative decals. The vehicle is sound motorised but lacks the wiring for lights. The red nose light is in fact a dummy light that simply sits in the nose recess. I wonder how many people have sold those going, can't get the nose light to work. Yeah, it's not working properly. And so that's pretty cool. Another unique feature of this cool ship is the addition of a thumb lever on the lid of the battery compartment. The cockpit canopy has a duct into it, though it's not as dark as some of the Euro Palatoy non-electronic versions. The laser cannons have a slightly lighter colour and more waxy texture than their Kenner counterparts. It looks the business. I mean, you said 85, I'm reading also 88, so somewhere thereabouts. No one's going to lose any friends over that. But yeah, we all know that the Glassly came in slightly later anyway. But yeah, a great addition. So we're going around the houses, mate. So we've done America, we've done Canada, we've done the UK, we've done Brazil, we've done Italy. Any others you got?
Obviously Meccano. Sorry, yeah, because we've gone right round the houses.
Yeah.
I have lost my way on it myself. Yeah. So the Meccano one, my image of it is too small for me to be able to read what it is called, because again, the name's different, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I thought this was pretty good because I fair play to the French. It's not often I say that, but fair play to the French, because in '78 they had one very similar to the first Palatoy, right? So it was identical, but with Meccano, not Palatoy. Ship was the same, box, Meccano, not Palatoy. And then the French wanted out, right? As far as I'm concerned, they weren't prepared to wait until 1980 like the Brits, Canadians. They weren't happy with the lack of functions, right? So in 1979, Meccano switches to the red style background box fronts and a double racetrack as used by early Kenner versions. And the box states it's electronic light and sound version. It kept the original Meccano logo. A small title change is made from Chasseur X to Le Chasseur X, and they ended up getting the white electronic lights and sound version. So the French started like us, and then they literally jumped ships.
Now, on here it states that there was 3 different boxes on the Star Wars, that it changed regularly. That you had the red background with the Meccano flat logo. Then it changed to the red background with the double M mirror Meccano logo. And there was a planet and night sky background, but I can't find an image of it. Any idea what I'm talking about?
Wow. Well, what I did get is so they changed from the Palatoy one to the Kenner. So yeah, their first iteration was like our Palatoy Planet one, then they went to the Kenner one, and then the third iteration
you're right,
is the same but with the Miro Meccano square. So that's the 3 French Meccano ones. So yeah, I mean, and I respect that. I quite like that, actually. I quite like the fact that they were like, no, this is wrong. We want out. So they did their own sort of X-Wing Brexit, and they got what they wanted. So it worked out for them. Didn't take that long either.
I prefer it on the Planet with the French box.
Yeah.
I think it's got a smarter look about it.
Right, so that's that. Then all we're talking now, apart from the Japanese, which Rich has already mentioned about, the incredible Japanese transforming.
Yeah, I don't know whether you were going to count that as a.
Well, it's weird because I still can't. I googled earlier on. There are 2 Takara versions, because I've got a very small Takara version, which is probably sort of micro size.
That's the diecast one, is it?
Yeah. And there's a much larger one, which is the Transformer.
Several fighters have broken off from the main group. Come with me.
And then also we've got Spanish PBB version, which was the only issue of that, which came out Empire Strikes Back, El Imperio Contractor, 1980. And this was by Logo, and it's an absolute beaut. Really, really is a lovely looking box. And the toy was a white non-electronic Euro Palatoy version, and it's a really, really special looking one. But then it was the other European versions. There are 3. So you had the Troy Logo, which is rare as hen's teeth. So Troy Logo version, made in Spain. Troy Logo releases. This extremely rare made in Spain Trilogo releases sees the iconic Trilo graphics against another Dagobah style background, and this is what they say is the third Dagobah one, and the vehicle is depicted as the white Palatoy non-electronic with alternative R2-D2 head sculpt and a black sticker for the non-moulded rear engine, which we've already mentioned. And this one is very similar to, this is me just writing down some stuff, the changes to the Dagobah playset is on the previous southeast facing Dagobah playset, both Yoda and Ben were on the far side of the X-Wing. On this latest version, the Trilogo version, Yoda's come round to the front, and to me it's looking like Yoda's just looking at us as if to say I've had it with this kid, and Ben also looks like he's given up. And maybe that's just my imagination, but the Trilogo version looks like everything's just fallen apart on Dagobah, and so that's that one. And then you've got 2 different Bilogo versions. So 3 different Bilogo versions. So you've got English French for 2 different changes, and then you've got a Spanish French version as well. So all in all, Stu, thanks for going through all that, mate. An incredible number of boxed ships. I mean, that is insane. You know, we've counted through that. If anyone, or you know, if the guy from Rebel Scum is listening, or if anyone else has got anything to add to this, I've never known anything like it. 25 different box variants. I mean, that's crazy. So lads, we had planned to talk about so many things tonight, and we have already spoken about so much. I'm conscious of the fact that people's iPhones are only so big. So Richard, I asked you to look into die-cast X-Wings, and rather than just chin it off because you've done some research, I'm going to give you 120 seconds to cover die-cast X-Wings. Can you do that now?
Yeah, so obviously anything at all to do with die-cast, I'm going to check out Andy Norton's website, vintagestarwarsdiecast.co.uk. And on his website, and it's exactly what I expected, the X-Wing is the one that appears on by far the most different variation of cardback. So if anybody is interested, check out the website where he has it on 10. Yeah, that's 10 different cardbacks for the vintage diecast. Absolutely stunning, amazing job. And he's also got a mailer box as well. So cracking job there, Andy. So the X-Wing diecast, it's actually really, really good. It's one of my favourite diecast vehicles. Again, it has the X splitting off from the wings, and you can you can't lock them in position, but you can keep them open. They look amazing on Ian's displays accessories. But what I like about this, Jez, is it has a Luke X-Wing pilot, and I hope you're collecting Luke X-Wing pilots in X-Wings as well. But it's a really, really nice item, nice and small, comes with the little R2 dome and the Luke X-Wing. What more can you want?
Romeo done. I got 21 seconds to flow. I got 21 seconds to go. Cause if you like me, let me know. Let me in the studio. I got 20.
Perfect, mate. 70 seconds. You've nailed it. I got my loose one for $5 in Orlando, and a carded one at Room Sales, Empire Strikes Back carded one for $90. So yeah, mate, awesome. 80 seconds. Boom. So that's the die-cast, and also the X-Wing was so popular they launched it into the micro collection. Stu, are you going to be able to do something similar in 120 seconds for micro collection?
Going in. Cover me, Porkins. I'm right with you, Red 3.
I should think so. I used to have one of these, and then I sold it, and I've quite fancied getting it back again, and the price has gone up by about 4 times, so brilliant. So obviously the micro collection only available really for about a year, late 82 into early 83. The micro collection X-Wing was brilliant. It had a crash feature where you pressed a button and the X-Wing went into 3 different pieces. Came with one little figure, which was an X-Wing pilot. It's not actually Luke. that it's brilliant. But out for a year, 3 separate boxes. You had the first one, which had the first one with the upper left was had an oval inset which contained the image of the figure, I believe. Then it changed to a circular inset. I think I've got them back and front. I think it was the circular inset with the figure, and then the next version came with an oval inset which showed the ship and the figure, and also a special offer sticker with a backdrop. And then you had the final box in 1983, which on the back of the box came with vehicle photos. To be honest with you, Jez, that's about it. It's a brilliant little toy. Fits in brilliantly with the rest of the range.
Romeo done. I got 21 seconds to flow.
Mate, that's perfect. So that's the range. That's the range. The Takara one, the micro, the die cast. That's incredible, and we've massively cantered through that. So, Peter, dude, I'm going to come to you, and I'm not going to give you 120 seconds, but can you cover the market stuff?
The market for X-Wings is quite a minefield, as you can imagine, because there's so many of them. So, as Stuart has covered, for a standard white loosey-goosey X-Wing fighter, the price has been pushed up by the availability of canopies and the guns, which always get lost. And I think there's a couple of slight versions of the guns, I believe, which don't always fit on some of the early ones if you have some of the later ones. I think that that's correct in saying that. But the price of a standard loose one, you're talking from about £40 these days because of those elements. Because people will sell a canopy for anything from £25 upwards. And the guns in a set or even singular can go for anything from, well, if you're lucky on a form, you might get a singular one for £5. Sometimes people will try and sell them for 10 to 15, even to 20 plus just for the guns. It's pretty easy to have a reasonably good working shell with or without stickers. There's a lot of repro stickers out there, which you've got to be wary of. But for a standard loose one, anything for £40 upwards, people have been paying over £100 for a really, really nice mint white one. There's not too many variations of market data on the other coloured versions. It just seems to be loose X-Wings. So it seems to be there's lots of them. They're not particularly cheap, but they're not overly expensive. But you can definitely get hold of them. They're all over the place. Now, box versions, not going to go through every single one because otherwise we'll lose the will to live. But the most common version, what do you reckon it is? The most highly sold one. Now, I'm going on the back of 4 years of data. What do you reckon? Let's go for Star Wars ones. What do you reckon the most commonly sold one is? The most frequently sold.
Can I without long play?
It's just the ordinary. The first Kenner release seems to be the one that's easier to get hold of. There's been quite a few of those, and those can go anything between an average in a box from a £95. People have paid up to over £600 for them. The most priciest one that I could find was the Poch or POC, the Spanish one, and there's been two of those sold, and both raised just over and under £1,000 in a box, which I think is, and that's not even sealed. That's just in a box. Right, on the Return of the Jedi. On the battle damaged stuff. Let's call that up. It's just loading up. There we go. There's also a few more of these around. The Glassy is the less one to get hold of, but actually in price range the last 4 years, not actually as much as I thought it would be. Only the highest price is £235, but not many. Only 2 have been seen in the last 4 years,
really?
according to the track. Yeah, only a couple. So not ridiculously expensive, but not many of them. So maybe it's that's slightly bizarre box art with the Luke in the corner of the box. I don't know, but people just aren't after them. A loose battle damage one. There's quite a lot of them. Again, same sort of price. 40-50 quid, depending on how good condition they are. So there's not much difference there. In terms of that particular box, it seems to be the Return of Jedi A with the Le Guerre Le Trois is the most frequent one. and some people were paid £800 for that in a mint in a box. So hey, mine must be worth something then. Even if it's got a cat fist through it. But they seem to the overall general Star Wars X-wing fighter in a box. You're not really talking. It's hard to get in a box for less than £100 most of the time in any decent condition, and you can go ends of the earth. So it's too difficult to kind of round that up really, because there are so many versions of it. But if your bog standard one in a box, you're probably talking for a half decent one 150. Sealed in a box, you're joking. You're having a laugh. You're paying some money for them. But the thing is, there's plenty of them.
Yeah,
lots of X-wing fighters out there. I tell you what's quite interesting in the data. So you can scroll through the data on Star Wars Trek and have a look whether things were mint in seal box. It just goes to show how great this was, because there's very few mint in seal box stuff. So when people got this, they ripped it open and played with it because it's an X-wing. And it does seem like I'd say about 10%. No, not even 10%. Probably 5% of the data has a mint and seal box stuff. It seems to be quite a few with a box, but in general, this thing was played with. That's what the data's telling me.
Mate, great. Thanks so much. I mean, there's lots of data for you to look at and so much information for you guys to look at. Now, earlier on, I had asked the guys to look at die-cast and to look at micro, and I gave 120 seconds because I appreciate already this podcast has now already gone into August and September. So, Pete, I'd asked you to look into some sort of NPC kits and airfix, and do you reckon you can do it justice in about 120 seconds?
Let's give it a go, Jess. Well, there was a X-wing airfix model, which of course NPC and airfix and all that General Mills stuff all came together and became the same thing. But the box of the X-wing, the airfix kit, is glorious. It's got a massive X-wing all over it. Got a little Darth Vader sitting on a wing, and a rather sort of, I don't know what you call it, egregious kind of Luke Skywalker. He's kind of looking at you with his little beady eyes, kind of with that sort of expression of going, doing that to you, really? He's sort of like, oh yeah, I'm an X-wing fighter, but not in his pilot outfit, just in kind of like a blue shirt almost. A bit strange. But the box is great. It's full of action. That sort of later became, we had other kits, the NPC kit, the Snap Fix kit kind of became kind of almost standard, and that got re-released a couple of times under Airfix and under the NPC style as well. Then we had, now we covered this ages ago. Simon brought it up because Simon was being very, very creative. Is the Estes Maxi Brute Star Wars X-Wing flying thing, which is actually a flying model rocket. Again, we talked about it, but it is an absolutely glorious kit. I think it might be the best X-Wing model out there, I think, because it actually flies, actually takes off. But it's really hard to get hold of. You very rarely see it, but if you can find it, definitely try and buy it. And that was actually released in 1977, so they were really going, oh yeah, X-Wing, it flies, let's make it fly, because it flies over 300 feet, Jez. 300 feet. So I think that might be the most definitive X-Wing, the fact that it actually flies. And I think that's it, really.
Romeo done. I got 21 seconds to flow. I got 21 seconds to go. Cause if you like me, let me know. Let me in the studio.
I've made a lot of special modifications myself.
Can it be improved? I mean, apart from we want sounds, we want the light, we want exactly what the Americans had, and the French after the second iteration, and Canadian and everyone else. What would you do to improve this ship? Is there anything you could do, or are you just happy as it is? Stuart?
I think sounds. I think this one would have really benefited some movie sounds, maybe a bit of Luke talking, maybe use the Force Luke kind of stuff from Obi-Wan would have really, really suited it. But no, apart from that, I think it's pretty on the money.
Okay, Rich?
How to improve it? I think the cannons, they bend too easily, so I think I would have preferred something just a little bit more sturdy.
Okay, and Peter, what about you, dude? What would you do?
I love the R2 thing in it, but I would have made it that you could put an actual R2 and still have the same thing. So if you had a little device that shoved up his backside, then I think you could have still had him been pushed down. I think it'd have been quite an easy thing to do. And how epic would that be for the Empire Strikes Back one, that you could flick a little button and he pops right out. He actually flies, like in the See, that would be really cool. You could try and get him to land on a wing or something. But I think just adding that to it, because I think having because I mean, when I was playing with it, and then you'd have an R2, go, I've got another R2. He's still in the ship. So a little bit of fantasy died there for me.
Yeah,
a little bit of fantasy died. Had two R2s suddenly running around when I was recreating Dagobah scenes.
Yeah, I like that. I like those ideas. I'm not sure whether or not I've got an improvement for this. I normally try and come up with something, but I like the fact that the battle damage stickers were optional extras. So it came with the stickers to apply, and then these as additional stickers onto it. Because I think I remember back in the day, that people were saying, I don't want it to look like it's knackered. I don't want it to look all beat up. I want it to look nice and new. So I like that they gave you the option. Yeah, the R2 thing, the droid option is definitely good. And Rich wants slightly stiffer ones. It's just his age. But I think, I'm just pleased with it. And to me, we didn't lose anything because we didn't have the sound of the lights. We had our imagination.
Truly wonderful the mind of a child is.